too late. I will stay awake until you're home. We've suffered all this time, but all is well tonight. We've suffered all this time, but all is well tonight. We keep searching for that road to nothing at all. This path will tear us apart if we want to go this far. We keep on hurting, even though we've given it all. This path will tear us apart if we want to go this far. If we want to go this far.
Okay, so not exactly my best driving ever, but how well did the rest of the craft do? Well, to give you an idea of where I came down, I'm actually pretty happy with it. Keep in mind, I came down within landing sight of the base here itself that I took off from, and you're going to see when I flip the HUD back on here that all of the stages made it down intact, and they're not that far from the base, amusingly enough. Everything fell within 1.02 kilometers, which for something that's completely unguided, I can't complain about at all, especially because the hydrogen tank came down, and as you can see right here through the trees, it's intact. I mean, even the gears even survived landing on that, so I'm quite happy that I had enough chutes on there. It came down fine, so we're really looking about a kilometer out to these two guys here. 500 meters for the hydrogen tank, and the front end of the craft, which was the General B and the Ion stage, came down within 500 meters of the base itself. So really can't complain there for something that only required 2 trips to orbit to get figured out. The first trip was primarily, the big problem was I forgot the parachutes. So even though 2 of the stages survived, there was only 2 or 3 blocks left of those stages. And then of course the main stage came down and wiped itself out completely. So this time around, when I did the second one, I had some additional atmospheric thrusters on the front end. They were pointing down, so that way I could actually, while I was facing down, hurtling towards the planet, I could do a little bit of trajectory adjustment, and I think that got me much closer in here. So there's the Ion lander that we're just passing over right now, and you can see well within sight of the landing pad that we took off from, which is just on the other side of the base here. I was going over here to actually confirm through the beacon distances and needed to clear up the clutter just a little bit. So took off roughly on top of the connector here, so I'll bring the engineer over. We'll park ourselves in there, and there you go, right there. That's our distances to everything, so not too bad. You can see I am going to be typing that up in the chat here, just so that way it is officially on record. The flight itself went pretty good. There's a little bit of a hitch when the hydrogen phase cut off and ejected. It didn't do it cleanly for some reason. It kind of canted over to the right, which is a little on the weird side. Everything was doing fine on the flight so far, but that only just makes it even more of a pleasant surprise to have the hydrogen tank actually show up. To also give an idea of how much hydrogen I used on that trip, that small tank was filled to the brim before, per the Junkyard Wars challenge, and I only used I had 82% hydrogen left in it. So I didn't really need too much hydrogen there. So the question is, can you get to orbit without needing hydrogen? And we know from Junkyard Wars that has been proven to be possible. It is a very fine line. And I think at that point you're talking about getting more into the art of the math on the thrust. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.